So I will give it 30 seconds of fame. So WannaCry was the first piece of ransomware worm ever. It was awful. WannaCry was riddled with errors. It used uninitialized stack memory. It made the scanning uneven. It only worked in certain versions of Windows. It was really loud and attacked across the internet, drawing international law enforcement attention and security researchers from all over the world within minutes. WannaCry was like that 1987 Honda Civic that technically ran but would occasionally catch on fire and spin off the road, but like it worked. It wasn't the one that kept us up at night, despite the fact that we've been warning about that threat since March of 2016. Netya is the threat to worry about. This is the one that should keep you up at night. This is the one that you need to stop and pause and say, how do we stop this? Because right now, we don't know. The United States government and GCHQ both came out and said recently that Netya, aka NotPetya, was written by Russia. To give you some background on this, Netya was basically a continuation of a campaign against Ukraine. Ukraine has been a place that if you want to find cool cyber attacks, you go look there. Because it's effectively weapons free. Right after Korea, there's not a lot of sanctions that are going to be passed because of cyber weapons being tested against Ukraine. And so we've worked there with various groups for years. We are very close with law enforcement agencies there. We're very close with businesses there. And we offer lots of free helps and services because frankly, it's a great source of intel for us. Right? If we see something being used in Ukraine, chances are it's going to be used against somebody else. And so we'd love to see it there first. This is a real tweet. I get a kick out of this every time I see it. This is their, literally, you can see their little, it's been, validated on Twitter. This is their official, hey, something really bad is happening to our country tweet. Yeah, right, the little dog in the burning house meme. And so it got a little bit worse. And this ended up also being a supply chain attack, which is why I wanted to bring it up today. Netya was a little bit more complex than most. Not only did it have network vectors, it had 4 separate vectors. And so it utilized PSExec and WMI, Eternal Blue, and Eternal Romance. If you recognize Eternal Blue and Eternal Romance, those are both from the Shadow Brokers release. By the time this hit, a month after WannaCry, those had been patched for 3 months. Firepower protection had been out for 3 months. And yet, people hadn't patched. Right? The reality of this situation was the first 2 vectors, PSExec and WMI, were responsible for 70% of all infections. And the reason behind that was because they would use a customized version of Mimikatz to dump the credentials in memory. And they would then use those credentials to move laterally throughout the machine, the network, which again, looks like valid admins logging in, and then deploying the malware.
So when it comes to the future of Latin American threats, I think one of the most important things to keep in mind is to keep your systems patched. Another thing to keep in mind is to make sure that you're using unique passwords on each system so that if a breach does occur, an attacker doesn't have access to all of your information at once. And then finally, where possible, run things like ad blockers. The reality is a lot of websites unintentionally carry compromised ads, and if you're using an ad blocker, you can take steps to mitigate these threats.